With the start of World War I, the U.S. had to find new ways to finance the war since they were lending out money to Europe and supplying them with guns, tanks, planes, and food. President Woodrow Wilson wanted new ways to collect money, so in 1913 we had adopted the 16th Amendment, which legalized income tax. Initial rates were very low, and 98% of American families paid no income tax, so it wasn't making the government any money. The government had to act fast and decide whether or not to expand income and compromise with establishing a national sales tax. Between 1916 and 1918, the government came out with two acts, the Revenue and War Acts. They imposed a better income tax system and an estate tax to get the average or middle-class Americans to furnish financial support. They emphasized the purchase of war bonds. Citizens were strongly encouraged to demonstrate their patriotism by buying these bonds. Posters with the slogan, "Beat back the Huns with Liberty Bonds," were plastered to walls. President Wilson arranged for celebrities, including Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford, to appear at bond rallies. Posters were popping up everywhere, drawn by the nation's best illustrators to hit emotions that made people go and purchase a war bond. Speeches were given daily, and even Boy Scouts became salesmen under the slogan, "Every Scout to Save a Soldier." Families were promised that the money would be used to help build guns, tanks, planes, and ships, and supply food. By the third Liberty Loan campaign, about 50% of American families had subscribed. Maturity for the war bonds was in the summer of 1922 and 1923. The War Finance Corporation was created by Congress on April 5, 1918, to credit war industries during World War I. The WFC had advanced $71,387,222 in only 6 months of wartime existence. To encourage immigrants, the poor, and school children to buy bonds, they created the thrift stamps and war savings stamps. In schools, teachers were authorized to teach children the values of patriotism and savings. There were flaws in the campaign since the government was printing more and more money daily. There was an increase in inflation and prices doubled by 1918 with little attempt at price control. The U.S. had lost money because allies in the war couldn't make their payments, so the government had slower interest rates than what was originally said. Even though the U.S. lost money, it had its perks. By the end of the war, the United States had become the world's most important trading nation, as well as its largest banker. Also, instead of being in debt to European nations, now the tables had turned, and Britain and France had huge loans taken out of America's pockets. The outbreak of World War I found the United States unprepared for the enormous strain the war would place on its fiscal system. When the white flag was waved in 1918, the United States had different tax system, seen as government assumed a dramatically enlarged place in the financial affairs of its citizens and changed from an international debtor to an international creditor nation. These achievements denoted the strength, patriotism, and willingness to sacrifice of an aroused and determined democracy.